Hey, how's it going, everybody? I think what you were asking about, I think if you go to preferences and initialize ZBrush, that should reset everything to the first initial state that ZBrush came in. So we'll get started in a minute or two. Just oh, just the slider. I don't know. That's a good question. If anybody knows, let us know. Hey, what's up, guys? Good morning from wherever you're tuning in from. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Sounds okay. So we're going to go over this mask, right? So I finished it from last stream. We did it on one stream, which was cool. Let's see. Well, one thing that I did differently for this stuff was just kind of use the contrast brush to make sure the print comes out nice and clean. And I also booleaned it, so here's like the final result of the mask. You know, with the boolean. Nice and thick, the right amount of thickness, not too thick, not too thin. Right? And here's the print. So the print came out pretty nice, I think. I'm very happy with it. It fits just fine. Fits just fine. A little snug, perfect, you know, when I put my other mask on top it should be fine, but I'm still going to make some holes on the side and then just kind of make sure there's straps for this. So yeah, pretty good result overall, pretty happy with it. I did have a failure on this print. The first time I attempted it, it almost came out perfectly except for one side I didn't support it enough, so some of the supports got a little squashed and broke up a little bit, and it kind of had to reprint it. That was a resin print on the Piapoli Phenom L, and I think it was about 20 hours or so. It's not bad, you know. But yeah, so here's like some of the Boolean objects that I used to hide my face. So here's like the Boolean object that I used to kind of cut it and figure out where I wanted to trim it. You know, just simple sphere, nothing fancy. I know some of you guys were asking about that. Turn that off. And just the same thing, but just kind of shrunken down. Let me change this music. This music got a little annoying. That sounds a little better. So usually what I do. Sorry, sneezing. Sorry about that. Usually what I do, I'll take it into I usually take it to Mesh Mixer. So I have something like this. I'll make sure it's a little more solid, but in this case, this is what I took in there. And then from there, make the hollow the way I want it. So the amount of thickness, use between 2 to 4 or sometimes 6 millimeters. But in this case, I think it was like 3. From there, I hollow it out. I get a hollow version, and that's what I get from this guy. And then I just pull some of those points out to kind of where I want to cut this stuff at. You know, nothing too crazy, just kind of pulling that, and then from there, that's what we get the clean result, which you see here. And you see, it's pretty nice and clean overall. Just trim it where my beard is, where my chin and beard is at, and then my nose. But other than that, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I'll be painting it hopefully in the next week or so. I've been kind of prepping it for that. I just haven't had time to actually do it. And of course, I pushed all the detail way further than what I think it looks like good in ZBrush, and that helps when it prints out. It's a little more high fidelity and sharp. So today we're going to be working on this guy. We started this guy in the stream. I want to say probably. Yeah, it fixed without any mods. It's like perfectly snugged. So it's like nice and comfortable. So like if I put it on, you can see like it grips on pretty well. Like the little points right here kind of adjust to my face since I was using my scan. Yeah, but I think eventually what I'm going to do is probably just sand it a little bit so it's not so sharp, because it is a little sharp on the edges. And then that should be it. And then make some holes so that I can loop it around my ears, just in case I move around fast, it doesn't just fall. But yeah, we're going to be working on this guy. So this guy, I think from the last couple streams, like maybe a month ago or something like that, we had a head that we just had this thing that I was working on. Which I really like, so I wanted to just kind of take it to the next level and kind of do a full figure of this. I use the Phenom L, and I use also the Elegoo Saturn and Foreign Labs Form 2. But this guy started, so I blocked out the body last night. Nothing fancy. I started with something like this, which was just as you can see, a whole bunch of sea spheres, or a whole bunch of just spheres that I just pushed and pulled around, kind of blocked out the body proportions. And then from there, kind of just went in and fused it all together. And just kind of did some more landmark markings, and that's about it. Okay, well usually I only have the default stuff. I don't have anything fancy, so I'm just mostly holding Control Alt and Shift. But I will add that in the future. I don't have that in my OBS configuration, but I will work on that. Thanks for letting me know that's important for you guys. So I'm kind of thinking of, like, I blocked out the body. It's nothing fancy. It's just enough to give me information for where I want to kind of go from this. And this is some of the things I'm kind of looking at to see how I'm going to block out the armor, and where you're going to see some of the skin, and where you're going to see some of the armor. So this is some of the stuff that I'm kind of looking at. Some of the inspiration. Here's another one that's pretty nice. I really like this for all the little sharp edges, and then also all the little bits that kind of stick out, that kind of break the form apart. So that's kind of some of the stuff we're going to be blocking out today. I was thinking of working on my Krampus creature, but then I forgot that this guy's been sitting on the bench for a long time, and kind of want to get him finished, you know. So yeah, let's see what else. Yeah, let me post some links to some social media stuff, just in case you guys don't know who I am or wondering what I've done before. You guys ArtStation fans, or even I forgot. I always forget to put my other handles. Let me just put a few more. If you guys want to follow me, check out some of the stuff that I've been doing. That's where I post a lot of the stuff that you guys see here, or other experiments that I do with 3D printing. Well, I use, depending, I have a couple different ways of scanning myself. I have my own scanner, the Iron Scan Pro. So I can use that to scan my head. I've gotten high resolution scans from photogrammetry places, but I am working on a video for you guys for YouTube. So some of the YouTube stuff that you guys been asking me about, how to scan your own face using your iPhone. So that way everybody has that as accessible. So I think that might be a more easy solution for you guys to be able to scan your head and use that as a kind of a mannequin to kind of form your mask around. You know, that way you know it fits you. So I'll be doing that on my YouTube channel. Let me give you guys a link to that. I'll demonstrate a couple apps and then kind of talk about some of the things that I like and don't like about some of the stuff. You know, or which ones are more accurate, because there's some that are kind of approximations, and those don't tend to work that great. So you guys should be able to follow me here. This is my own channel. I'll be doing more streams and more tips and tricks videos. So if you guys have anything you guys also want to learn that's a quick tip, feel free to let me know. Yeah, some of the other stuff that I'm kind of looking at is some of the Takaya inspiration as well. So something, let me save the image so I can show you guys. So stuff like this, I'm kind of just looking at, see how I'm going to blend in some of the more organic shapes to more hard surface shapes, because he's obviously some kind of crab creature. So yeah, I think something like that will work. Just kind of getting inspiration of like how we're going to lay some of this stuff out, so it's not just roughed out. Oh, thanks. I'm just playing Pretzel Rock, so I'm not sure who. I'm just kind of playing a station, but it's kind of cool, epic music. So, but yeah, feel free to follow me, and then I'll have more stuff that I'll be posting on there. You know. But yeah, let's get started with this guy and see where we can take him. And we make a pure ref. I always make a new pure ref every time we start, just to have everything in one section, so that let's see, make sure I can see your questions in case you guys have any. But yeah, I'm thinking this is kind of the proportions that I'm going to go with, and then we'll see from there. We're going to have to modify and give him some armor and all kinds of stuff, you know, so give him a bit of attitude. Maybe play around with some cool armor. So let's see what we can do with this. So some of the things I started laying out were some of these kind of big chunky pieces, just to see how I want to break the silhouette. You know, we'll have to make some. I think he's gonna have to have one claw that's bigger than the other. Sorry, just thought I had to sneeze. I don't want to sneeze on the microphone. But yeah, just kind of getting inspired by crabs and, you know, creatures of that sort. Let's see. So sometimes I'll get issues like this, and my resolution is really low, and even if I dynamesh it, and it gets a little lower, but not low enough. So sometimes I'll just do a ZBrush on the surface, just to kind of get it even lower, and then I subdivide. Yeah, I scaled everything up, so one thing that happened is all of a sudden my dynamesh settings don't kind of work from the original scene. Not a big deal. Oh, look at that. It didn't like that. I wonder why. Let's try that again. Yeah, today we're just going to be kind of designing. I don't know what's the deal with that. That's interesting. It doesn't work. Maybe I need to fuse it with something else. Usually zero meshing just works pretty well. Let's try a different algorithm. Maybe I need to try the legacy version. Maybe that might brute force it. Where's everybody tuning in from today? There we go. It looks like the old version works just perfect. Alright, that's fine. That's all we needed. And this guy's a good resolution. What about this guy? That's pretty good too. Okay, so we'll continue with these guys. Let's see. Just trying to see what kind of elements I can give him that would make him feel. Maybe some elements from the back that make him feel more like a crab. That's kind of what I'm thinking about, but we'll see. And some of the stuff might work, some of the stuff might not work, but that's what we're here for, right? To explore some ideas, see how all this stuff might actually So now that we have the body, let's see what we can do. Maybe let's hide this guy. And all those things are just spheres. There's nothing fancy about them. So one thing we can do is duplicate the body. And then we can start kind of sketching in some ideas of some patterns, you know? Like maybe I'm thinking that before we go with that one, let's go. Sketching some ideas for this pattern, you know. And then from there we can kind of break it up. I would recommend using a tablet, not a pen display. At least that's what I use for everyday work. So I would say that would be a more practical approach. And then if you have, you could explore with the pens, the pen, like the Cintiq that I'm working on. But I would recommend maybe not for the beginning, or you know, only if you have like some spare cash, or if you have a friend, maybe try it out, like hang out with him and try it out for a couple of hours, or you know, sketch some stuff. So here what I'm trying to do is kind of build some separation between the plates. So I'm going to be kind of sketching, like pushing some stuff in, pushing some stuff out. Giving some of this stuff a little bit more definition, you know. Yeah, I would say unless you can get a good deal, I would say wait on it. Don't jump on getting a Cintiq, you know. So here I'm just kind of breaking that bigger shape into a smaller shape. I don't know if it's working yet, but we'll see. Not spending too much time on it. A lot of this stuff will get softened up. Just enough to get a little ridge, so you know that it could tuck underneath that, you know? Like if I wanted to. There's like a spacing like in here, where it kind of slides just like a regular crab would, you know? Just like those images I was showing you guys. Let's see, I think... we could also add like a little accent. Like it's all leading to pointing towards his face. Yeah, I tend to use the medium one, but a small one works pretty well. The large ones don't really work that well. I would say if you could avoid the large ones, avoid them, because I had one when I started off and it was just too big. You're moving your arm way too much, like across your desk. And it kind of starts to kind of hurt you a bit. We're going to dynamesh that guy at a really low resolution. Let's see what we can do with him. I think this needs to be kind of sectional, so it's like... it's more like a little collar piece. Maybe it holds that other piece in, you know? Yeah, bamboo is pretty good, and it's inexpensive too, which is nice. You know, it's not a cheap product; it's just inexpensive, and it works for most of the stuff. You know, and then once you know, maybe get some freelance jobs, you could buy a more professional like the Intuos line. But you know, it's up to you. I would just say, for the beginning, don't go crazy buying the really expensive tablets or really expensive screens. Just make sure you have 2 screens. That's probably more important, having 2 screens, one for your reference, one for your other stuff. So one thing we can also do is extract, right? So we don't have to just do it on this mesh. That could be the underlying mesh. So one thing we can do is kind of play it more like this, and then extract it out. Maybe that's too thick, but we could just go with that. Right, and then we're gonna start playing with some of the... I think I want to break it into 3 pieces. This is just one piece is not enough. Let me just start with this. Let's see what we can do with it. I think we could round out the edges. Sorry guys, I think I just got some allergies. You know, let's see, let's check out some other inspiration. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you, Zena. Let's see. Some of the other inspirations that I got were. Let me see. Let me show you if I could move this window around a bit. Is this guy. This guy's pretty cool. You know, just kind of looking at his patterns, so just kind of getting inspired by spiky stuff. So, kind of looking at some of that. Just looking at different things that are crustacean-like, so that you know, kind of make sure that he feels like he belongs in the sea. You know, and some of these things will block in, and we'll see if they're working and they're not. You know, like I like this element, but how does that help a crab? You know, or this guy? Like, does that actually help the design, or is it not really doing much for it? I feel like it's not doing much for it. Maybe he could have more of a shell, right? Since he's a crab, he could have more of a shell in the background. So maybe we'll do something like that. Maybe it's part of this part, and we could just extract that. Well, let's unmask the other stuff. So maybe we'll start with that. I think that's already looking pretty cool. Maybe this one's a little more bulgy. You know, it could all contour to his body. Oh, it's unmasked. So that way it goes with the overall pattern of this whole thing. It's not just like some random thing that I came up with. There you go. That kind of works. That kind of breaks his the design up a little bit. What do you guys think so far? We gotta do something about the chest. Yeah, you mostly need it for the pressure sensitivity. That's the most important thing. Without that, it's kind of just I don't know, little. So here, let's play around with the chest. Let's play around with the chest. Let's extract that as well. Let's see what we can do. Nope. Before we do that, we have to unmask the back. Because by accident, you don't want to actually extract the back, and then you have to make extractions. So let's play around with this and see what we can do. So the first thing that I'm doing is kind of smoothing out the edges so that I get it to be kind of round, you know, like it feels like a shell, which is pretty cool. For this guy, it's already kind of working out. So maybe this is going up. Maybe we have this stuff kind of start coming down. You know, to kind of help like the elegance of this design a bit. You know, we still have maybe some of the same elements that are happening with the rest of this, but just not. And these edges could come in, so they're underneath the other armor. And then we can also see how that plays with each other, because maybe that doesn't work. Maybe this armor needs to move out and have a gap there, right? Or we need to split it up. Masters in the Universe. Well, I was a big fan of it when I was growing up, so maybe that's the reason it feels like Masters of the Universe. But I just wanted to make something cool that, you know, that I like, that maybe is inspired by that. I'm also thinking of functionality, right? Like what is the purpose of this armor? How is it protecting him? Not everything needs to be sharp. Maybe there's elements that are nice and round, like more organic. this thing, you know, like maybe it's like a protector for his face, like, or the flaps come up when something's gonna hit his face, something like that, you know. Right now we're just throwing ideas out there, see what works. Yeah, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to ask. That's why I'm here for, to help you guys, if I can help you with anything. But we're talking a lot about design, seeing how that's going. Let's see, what can we add here? So we also want to make sure we have gaps so that there's flexibility within all this. Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, the main thing I'm worried about is making sure that everything reads its primary form. So one thing I started doing too earlier, let's maybe switch to it. Oh, I got the wrong Keyshot. Sorry, I just upgraded to the new Keyshot. Hey, what's up, Hannibal? How's it going, man? I just upgraded to the new Keyshot last night, and I guess when you have the old one, it just works. But let me let's send the new one out. See what that's looking like. And then we'll see what it's kind of updating. I think he'll be like a dark red crab, so that's kind of where I'm going with this. But yeah, I like the way this is reading. This is reading pretty nicely, I think. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's see, where's that warehouse? This guy here. Yeah, for it to transfer over, I think you do have to buy it. I don't remember. I bought it such a long time ago that I'm not sure if it came with it or if I bought it. But I want to say you probably have to buy it. I think it's probably like 150 bucks or like less than that, but I'm not quite sure. You might want to check the account, the Pixologic account. So some of these crabs are, you know, they're specular, but not too much. So let's tone it down a little bit because it was a little too shiny, and try a couple different things. Maybe a little darker red. This is maybe a little too saturated. Yeah, I think that will work. Yeah, it gives you a better idea. I like looking at it just, you know, just to see like what it would look like in real life compared to kind of just overall like what's working, what's not working. I kind of like the way it's like the shoulder pads need some work. Kind of like the spiky things, but I have to make sure they work with the design. Like there has to be. I want to feel like if you're looking at it this way, you feel like you see a crab. So I need to make sure that's implemented. But it's good to see it with more realistic materials. You know, they have many materials in here. I tend to use the subsurface ones because they have a little bit of, I guess a little bit of, what's it called? Of translucency on them. But, you know, there's many other materials in here that are pretty nice. You know, there's like more glossy ones, less glossy ones. Like this one's pretty good. This is actually much more of the look I was looking for. More of a flat with a little bit of sheen, not too much. What do you guys think of the design so far? Does it feel pretty menacing? Pretty like this guy's a badass? That's kind of what I wanted to go with. You know, probably I'll be adding some spikes on here. Probably I want to do something with his head. Maybe his head needs to kind of either turtle more in, like more like he has a helmet that protects him, or more of something that spikes out, you know. We'll see. But so far, I like what's happening. This changes this to 85, or I tend to go with 85 or 100 since I always use macro lenses to shoot like photography. So I kind of feel like I could expect what's gonna happen. But I feel like it's heading in the right direction. So let's continue with that. pause this and carry on. See, it kind of, it's a little different than what you're seeing here. It feels for some reason more realistic in Keyshot. Also, you're lighting away HDR, so that helps a bit. But so I think I want to incorporate more of those shapes. So let's also play around with the head a little bit. So let's duplicate this head. Most of the time, I could either make a layer and adjust that, or just duplicate the head and try something completely different. This kid, I'm being lazy, so I'm just gonna just play around with. Like, I'm trying to figure out if he needs to have a longer head or something else. Sure. What's your question about Keyshot? I think I like that better. Feels a little more alien-like, huh? Well, let's go with that for that. Let's just lay that out. We're just playing around with proportions right now, so it's not a big deal. So let's see, what are we gonna do? We're gonna work with the shoulder pads. I don't like the current position of them. They feel kind of plain, so let's we added enough definition on there, but let's maybe let's further break it down. Maybe they're like attached at the center but not at the edges, or maybe they're not at all. I guess the main thing, I want to make sure they feel like they're they feel more detached and less maybe, I know what I mean, layered. That's what it is. They need to feel a little more layered, because right now they feel like they're on the same plane. I feel like they need to not be. You could work on all of them offline. You don't need to have a specific version that works online. So I want to make sure that center part feels like it's the part that's sticking out, and the rest are just supplementary, like, you know. Yes, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to use some snake hook to get those spikes out. I'm just trying to make sure that the layered feel feels good first before we add some of the other stuff. You know, I kind of want to make sure that you feel like maybe the spikes are coming down, like kind of like the mouth, right? Like maybe that's what we're gonna mimic. So let's add a ridge. So first we add a ridge with our damn standard. Maybe I lowered it too much. Right. So each one has a ridge. Make sure that ridge is straight or round. Let me give these guys a little more plainer look so they feel more hard-edged. Right, and then let's see. See, the shape needs to be a little more dynamic. Like I was saying, it's okay if there's gaps in between. And if we don't like it, we can always cut pieces away too. So it's not a big deal. So let's try some of those spiky little things. Let's see. And I'm not sure if I want it to be going upwards, you know. Well, let's duplicate this before we move on, so in case we could play around with up and down versions. See, maybe this is where that armor tapers in. We'll see. Oh, version 8. Oh, that's weird. I didn't know it always worked for me offline, but that's why I just upgraded, because I saw that they have some new features with lights now. Like you can actually add interactive lights, like you could before, but now they're physically 3D as opposed to like on the HDR, like before, where they were a little more fake. Not saying they're still very real, but real enough, I guess. So I'll tend to also do a lot of cutting away with my either damp standard or this knife tool. Just kind of trim away pieces that I don't want so that I can make them look sharper. Not sure. Let's try the down version now. Another thing we could try too is another version where maybe it's smoother and maybe they're just coming out. You know, maybe this is divided into more. Let's cut more of it off. Maybe it's just one piece with cascading effects. We'll see. Sometimes some of these ideas are worth exploring. Sometimes you'll find out that it's a bad design idea, sometimes it's a good design idea. But you never know unless you try it. Like here, I need to just smooth some of this stuff out so it doesn't destroy if I were to dynamesh it. That was way too dense. That's much better. So sometimes more minimal is a little nicer. So maybe sometimes we can just try this. Let's see where this takes us. Or if these were, no, these are together, I think, yeah. I was gonna say if they're separate, I could just take one of those and steal it and modify it, but not a big deal. We could do it here. So what we could do is work on one, and then from there, kind of maybe recycle it. Trying to find, I'm not adding details, I'm not trying to overcomplicate things yet because we're still in the very early stages of the design. Let's say we're kind of happy with that, right? Let's modify this. Let's see what happens. I don't know. I kind of don't like that one either. But that's the whole point of design, right? We get to explore this stuff and find out what we actually like and don't like. So I think this had some elements that were working for it, but maybe it needs to be adjusted, need to be tweaked. maybe these taper inwards, you know, give a little more organic feel. Maybe there's something else underneath here. I guess where we can play with the body. So let's make sure we're playing with the duplicate body in case we need to ever go back, we can. Let's start cutting some of these lines in. You know, just to make it maybe feel like it's kind of like a football player a bit. Yeah, I'm either doing live stream or just do a pre-recorded one where I just kind of put everything together. But I'm thinking in the next week or two because everybody has been asking a lot. So I think that's probably my first video that I'll do where I just kind of demonstrate on either myself or one of my kids and kind of show you guys an example. So I think some more of those elements of spiky stuff and some more elements of that round, like maybe this is like a round piece that everything comes up to, right? Like everything needs to have dimension. It can't just be like a cutout. Like that's not going to be enough. It's like when you're sketching in 2D, you just like sketch the idea, but then you kind of refine a little bit more on it, you know, just to give it some more dimension and making sure that all these pieces feel like here. I feel like there's going to be another division. Or another plate, you know, like this could be another plate. Kind of the glutes. And then there could be another plate on top of that or another plate on the side. Just to kind of help flare out some of these design elements. So let's trying to break up so you feel layered. You see how now it feels like there's room for wiggle. That's kind of what I'm kind of going for. And even between these guys, you know, like I want to add some more 3 dimension on here. There we go. Let's go and divide these guys a little more. Let's see. It's got some more crab reference. So you could have little bits that are the kind of the little gaps where things can go. That makes any sense? You know, like that's one of the little gaps. And from this guy could be broken down even more. You have kind of like little membranes in between that kind of hold this stuff together. And within these, you guys can have some design elements to help break some of that stuff up. So soften some of this stuff up, because not everything needs to be super rigid. What do you guys think of the design so far? Make a little more with this guy here. So same thing, right? Maybe this inner part is a little more on the softer edge. So you have little elements of, or maybe some of this stuff it could flex. Break up the big stuff, right? Here I'm just thinking of the muscles, like what design element can we add that kind of goes with the... So I'm thinking something like that might work pretty nicely, right? But it doesn't have to be a perfect cut, it could just be... You know, just a little hint with if that's too much, we could just soften it up even more. Just enough to break that surface, so it's such a big surface, right? Here maybe I pushed too much. Maybe what I should have done is mask that piece and just move it as a unit, like either flatten it out or let me see how that's reading, like if that's actually adding to it or kind of not doing much to it. I feel like it needs to be even flatter. Cool. Well, let's save because we're about an hour in. Awesome. Where's my save menu? There we go. Let's also maybe play around with some of this AO. Let's see. I haven't played around with it too much, but where did it go? Preview AO. Okay, it's not too bad. It was kind of cool. Adds a little bit of... Let's go with that one. That one's pretty good. So let's incorporate some of these other things that we added. Like we have added some... yeah, we're gonna simplify this a little more. So here I'm just trying to find a common element that all of these guys have together. And one of the common elements is having like my three little kind of spiky things, you know, that are happening up here. So I think I want to incorporate some of that into this, you know, slightly, even here, right? Like you might have like those three little dots that kind of they're kind of part of the design, and even those guys could be like up here, right? To help make it feel more organic. Let's see. Yeah, I had poly paint on this before. Oh, I think I got rid of it. So far I think he's working pretty well. I'm almost thinking that the shoulders maybe need to be a little different. So let's see what we can do with that. Like maybe start working out some of this stuff. Start separating some of these shells. Just to see what we can get out of this. Music got pretty good now, finally. Let's see. I'm not sure if I'm gonna retop it later. I can, I just don't really know. Most of the time it might go straight to print or some cool renders. That's about it, but we'll see. What's cool is that maybe he could have some kind of armor back here. Let's see. You know, like some kind of elbow pads. They have spikes. remove that curvature that I added with overall arm. So you can have some of these guys kind of sticking out, some of them not so much, or have some of them could have a shell, like this guy. Kind of a cool little, and this guy could have the same elements of the spikes. Start incorporating some of that. I also don't want to make him feel so fat. I tend to do a lot of, so sometimes depending on this guy, if I want to make him more round, but I could add a little more planar faces to him, you know, so he feels a little more harder edge. So when you see this, you feel this edge roll a little more, like this type of stuff. I tend to do that a lot, so it doesn't always feel just blobby, you know. That's a big part, and also just kind of using the cut, you know, like the damn standard, like pretty high and then really small. This guy obviously needs a little more resolution, but you know what I mean. Maybe make him a little stronger. And then kind of refining the edge by going the opposite direction. Smoothing it out and then going back. So a lot of it's going back and forth a few times, you know. Then you start getting that hard surface feeling. If that makes any sense. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, we gotta do something with these pants. I haven't figured it out yet, but we'll continue right now. I think it has to be 3 separate pieces, to be honest. So maybe let's just cut them into 3 separate pieces, see what we can do with each piece. I think one thing we're going to do too is make them less bulky overall once we probably combine all these pieces together, because you know we're adding, he's already kind of buff, and then we're adding more stuff on top. He's getting too bulky. I didn't click on that. What happened? My knife went away. But hopefully some of this stuff is helping you guys, and you guys see what some of the design process is like. You know, just going on the fly. That's the whole point of my stream, right? Like kind of playing with stuff on the fly. Some stuff works, some stuff doesn't. Oh, thank you, thank you. So here we can start seeing that he's, you know, it's getting pretty bulky. Not sure if I like what's going on here, so let's get rid of that piece just to make sure we don't see it. And also maybe just, let's see, stick from that part for now. Start working on the back of it as well. So we have this guy, right? We have these. Do we have doubles of those guys? Yes, we do. Because of this guy. Okay. Not a big deal. There we go. So one thing we can do is that's nice. So let's see. Let's get rid of this guy. We don't really like him. And we have all these pieces that are just shells, right? So what we can start doing is merging them together. So we have less pieces and it's easier to control. I think I combine a few ugly ones with it. So we don't want that, delete hidden. We don't want those, so delete hidden. Sorry, we're just gonna get rid of all the pads. Let's double side this just to make sure we're getting everything. I'm just getting rid of everything we don't need. Oh, wrong way. There's a lot of little tiny little pieces. I guess the easiest thing to do is to keep it's awesome. I guess I have to mask in a different way or polygroup in a different way. Let's see. That's fine. It happens, right? So all those little pieces that were extruded are all little stragglers that we need to get rid of. So let's start by going group visible, and this should be regroup by edge. No, let's see, regroup by similar groups. I think that's the one. There we go. That's the one. Much better. Let's see. Yeah, you can watch it later, so it'll be archived. So not a big deal if you guys miss it. So one thing I want to make sure is that if I were to Dynamesh all this stuff together, it would stay separate for now because I don't want it to become merged, right? Even this stuff is all polygrouped together, but we could this is all pieces that are skinned, so we'll just group it all, or group visible. That way we can combine all these pieces and move them all as one. That way he doesn't feel so fat. Because right now he's starting to feel like he's a big linebacker. He can't really move too much. So let's go back to our layers. Let's add the rest of the body, group visible. Let's see. Grab the body, merge down. So it's all one piece, and then there's also the spiky parts. Let's bring those down. Oh. And there's these guys, which we don't know we want to keep, so we'll just leave those separate. That guy we don't know we're going to keep either, so we'll keep that separate. The only stuff that we're kind of happy with overall. Okay, so now that we have all that all good, now we can use something more like this and start thinning him out a little bit, because he started getting a little bit on the little fatty side. Same thing with the arms, right? So here's where you want to be careful, because I guess this is where we can mask. I will use move topological, but I have enough things that are separate that move topological is going to kind of interpenetrate some of this stuff. So just kind of want to mask some of this stuff. And just tone it down a bit, because I don't want it to be that bulky. Right, we don't want to make him feel like he's really short, so same thing with the chest. Maybe the chest got a little big with that armor plates. So that's also making them look kind of bulky, but I'm kind of okay with that one. So for this, now we can use move topological if you want to move this around. So this I kind of do want sticking out a little more. A little bit of a neck protector. We also need to start blocking out his hands, so we'll get to it. We're at 10:10, so we're pretty good on time, I think. But let's we're working on the shoulder parts, right? Oh. So let's just mask them. Well, actually, let's do our other trick. One other trick is that I always have some spheres around that are just out here. So I'll tend to kind of play around with those shapes. Sometimes it's easier to just start with something fresh. Not all the time, just sometimes. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this and not too bored. See, like I feel like this, it has to be something like this, where like we're cutting away a bit of the back, so that there's room for him to kind of move around. And like we were saying, we don't want to bulk him up too much because he looks like he can't move. And we might have to turn some of those muscles down a bit too, but well, not for now. Let's go a little more saturated. So yeah, his arms feel kind of too big. Let's go back to that. It's a little too buff for my taste. Not too bad. What do you guys think? So let's work on the shoulders. Not sure if you guys hear that, but it sounds kind of crazy out here. So I feel like maybe it's just one stripe that needs to be sticking out. So I kind of like that better. It's not so spiky, but it's separating the design. So maybe one thing we can do now is maybe play around with some poly paint, or actually let's block out some hands. Let's see, let's get a cube. There we go. That's gonna help because then his arms aren't gonna feel so short, because they were starting to feel pretty short. So we're just gonna block out some quick thumbs and nothing fancy, just trying to get a feeling for him. It's like big mittens, like he's gonna be a cook. Yeah, it's pretty similar. Like if you were to just kind of do some like topology wise for all this hard surface stuff, yeah. Just trying to get the feeling of the hands. You know, they won't be looking good for a while. But just trying to get the overall shape, feeling for them. See, now he feels a little more proportioned. Hey, how's it going? Alright, so now that we have that blocked out, now he feels more better. So sometimes you just have to block some of this stuff out. The next thing I have to block out is probably the feet and stuff, but we'll get to it. Just trying to... a little longer legs. There we go. Just want to make sure he feels right. Let's fix this thing that I just messed up. Just gotta smooth some of those lines that just got yanked. Not a big deal. We could work on the back a little bit too. I like the feeling of the shoulders. They feel like more kind of like those Nerf guns. I'm not sure if you guys Nerf footballs, those ridges, they kind of spiral. Kind of feels like that, but I think I'm okay with that. We'll have to play around with the spikes, but it's okay. We'll play around with the biceps as well, because biceps are, I'm not digging the shape. Everything just needs to flow. It needs to feel like it flows to each other. That's the main thing I'm trying to convey in this overall design. Let's play around with this. Let's see what we can do about the bicep. Maybe we need to break that up into a couple more shells, maybe. Let's look at some inspiration, see what we can find. Let's see. Sometimes you just see things and you have to tweak them. At least in my case, I feel like I need to tweak them. See, I kind of want this ribs, or this set of abs and ribs, to kind of be sticking out a little bit, so I'm going to play around with that a little bit before moving on to the... Because I feel kind of too, like, very linear. I want it to kind of be sticking out more, and then the rest kind of settles down. Not too much, but just enough to kind of break that silhouette, you know. Just like this stuff is breaking the edges. Same thing. So it could be going in more. Gotta do something with that head. I'm still not super happy with it. Let's see, this is our experimental head, isn't it? Let's double check. Yes. So let's continue tweaking this thing. No, it makes it look too weird. So let's look at that crab that we were looking at earlier, the one with the top view. Let's see what we can extract from that. So one thing about that crab is that he had a pretty wide head. And he also had like some little ridges that kind of came out. It's almost like this triangle type of head. I'm just working on this crab creature that I had from a couple streams ago. We kind of blocked in the head, so I decided to do the rest of the body. Kind of get this guy finished up. So that kind of works too, I think. Let's just keep playing around with that shape. Music's pretty good. This is the thing I like about design. It just keeps evolving. You just keep changing it and go. Go up and down. Sorry about that. Yeah, that could work. Let's try that. It feels a little more crab-like. Let's start working on the back a little bit because we kind of neglected that a bit. So we're going to go back to our sphere. My sphere method. I like the spheres. Let's go with that head. That head's much nicer. Let's see what we can do about this. Give him some more shell-like stuff and see how much more badass we can make him look. I don't know. I think he's looking pretty badass. What do you guys think? So we have about 30 minutes left, so let's see. Yeah, it could be animated. You could just remesh it and redo all that and retopologize it. You could animate it, or you can break it into pieces, animate it. So there's many ways. This is not meant for production. This is more just for fun concept ideas, kind of 3D printing maybe. Could be a creature for a film too. But at this point, we're just kind of playing around with some ideas. So. So where's everybody tuning in from today? Oh, you're a 3D animator? Oh, okay. Yeah, it depends what kind of animation you want to do on them. Like if you wanted to do something just rough, you could just decimate them, cut them into pieces and do that, or you just remesh them. That could work as well. I guess I messed that up. It's fine, I didn't need that. Just trying to block out more things for him. I feel like maybe those horns, I kind of want them going. Oh. Michigan, oh nice. Alabama, nice, that's really cool. Louisiana, Kentucky. Yeah, it's most of the time there's a lot of international people, so it's kind of interesting the different type of people that join. You know, that's from all over the place, which is really awesome. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Mesh that even slower. Oh, Netherlands, all right, nice. That's cool. Let's see, maybe we could do some poly painting. Not super happy with the head right now. I think we can do something about it. Like his frontal eminence is gonna kind of pop out a little more. Hey Richard, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Have I ever used Lightwave? No, I have never used Lightwave. I've opened it once or twice, but I'm a more of a Maya user. Sometimes 3D Max if I have to, but not. I'm more of a Maya guy. Oh, it's awesome when you select the tool you don't want to use. Giving me like a little bit of a horseshoe crab feeling right now, but you know. Oh, you're a Lightwave guy. Argentina, nice, man. I like the side view now. It feels a little better, but not super happy with it. But we're getting there. I think it might be this. This is what's killing me. This thing. Yeah, that helped. Need to adjust his brows now that I kind of changed them up a bit. His bigger brows. A bigger dude. Well, there's many, right? There's VR, there's, you know, 3D printing, like printing life-size figures or digital doubles. There's simulation. There's all kinds of other industries, you know, medical. Let's see what we have from the head from before to now. Let's see what we like, what we don't like. That's what happened. So that bridge he has as a brow, let's continue further back, and I think that's what we need. We need to continue that further back. Which head do you guys like more? Smaller head or the bigger head? Something about both, they're both pretty cool. Let's play around with this bigger head and see if we can continue that ridge further back. Bigger? Yeah, bigger, right? Makes them feel less human, more monster-like, right? Oh, you like the smaller one? Yeah, I'm gonna play around with both. Maybe it's an alternative print, you know. Maybe I'll print out both heads and see which one I like more. Something about the smaller head makes them feel smarter. With the bigger head, it feels more creature-like. So maybe there's a happy medium somewhere in the middle. Bigger. Yeah, I know what you mean. That's why it's good to have both to kind of compare, right? Yeah, I think it's about that ridge. That ridge needs to come back. That I think that was a big hit on his head when I kind of removed that. Yeah, that helps. That makes him feel a little more menacing. All right, let's do some Keyshot renders and see where we're at with this guy. Let's see, where's my Keyshot? Let's unpause this. And send this guy over. Let's add the same material to everything. Yeah, I'm feeling his vibe. I think this head works better. I think for sure. Thanks, guys. See, so this is kind of what I was talking about. Now we're feeling spacing. I gotta adjust a few things, but now it feels like it's layered. And I think that's a big thing, right? Because he needs to be able to move and crawl and become a ball or spread out and have those gaps. I think that's pretty important. Let's try a different lighting. It'd be cool if these guys just came out of the ocean, huh? Just start eating people. Or something. Okay, I think we'll tweak. We're gonna tweak his arms. Maybe make them a little bigger again because they became a little too small. But so far, I'm digging what I'm seeing. What do you guys think? Yes, still gotta make those claws. One has to be a bigger arm than the other, for sure. Well, I'll separate like the different parts, right? Like the joints, and then from there, kind of move those and then fix whatever gets a little messed up. So that's kind of the way I'm gonna pose him. So maybe he's like coming at you with like the giant claw and has the smaller one behind, that type of deal. Yeah, like a nice big claw. So I gotta find some claw reference. You know, maybe they're not as bulky, but they're more sharp. Like what is it called? Like some kind of shield or something. I found this thing, so maybe something like this, right? Where like they're maybe not as bulky but more pointy. Like I don't know. We'll see. What's Kara space? Let's find out. This is what Kara space is. Yes, it could be that. It could be that guy. So maybe let's play around some ideas for the arms. Since we're kind of working our way down from the top. The other question too is, what if the head was a little smaller? It's weird. I don't know why I don't know why that went down. It went down last time too. That could work too. Just a slightly bit smaller since his head became so big, longer neck maybe. We'll play around with that after the arms. So we only have like 20 more minutes or so, so might have to just block out some quick stuff. So let's try that. Let's block out the hands real quick. Put his head back on. But yeah, that's just the blocking out the arm. So I think the hand was supposed to be more higher, so more like mid-thigh. So let's just put that back up a little bit before we move on. Let's move this to the bottom. Oh. Just so that we know where the hands are at. And then we have these guys. These guys need to go up higher. Mid-thigh or something, you know. Then we could use these as like our guides, just to block out the shape. Let's make sure they're low. So what are we doing? We're making them a little sharp. And we'll probably just we'll do both, but we'll cut one off, and one will be smaller than the other, and one might be more of a hand. But for now, we're just playing around with these shapes. You're gonna have to tweak my scale, because see how dense this is? Makes it harder to adjust, even though that's only at 8. Keeps going to 16, but let's ZBrush that real quick. Legacy worked last time, so I'll just stick to Legacy. And let's change this music. So let me post some links for you guys real quick while we're waiting for this. Just in case you guys aren't following me or want to see more of what I'm up to. You guys can check out my website, that type of stuff. Yeah, it could be a monster from Power Rangers. Alright, now we're back to something smaller. Okay, much better. So let's see. Keep forgetting that I don't have Dynamesh. So one thing that I like about this other design is that it feels like it could be something you could slide in and off, and it has like a bit of an edge, so I kind of like that. So maybe incorporated that into the design a little bit. Not bad, right? So far, I have not posted any of that type of stuff, but I can if people are interested, because I haven't been doing it for a while. Sometimes I do it myself. Sometimes I hire people. It depends on how busy I am. But yeah, if you guys are interested in like casting and molding, I have a lot of stuff that I need to cast and mold that I kind of prepared, but I haven't done it. So maybe I'll just record myself or do a live stream where you guys can see that stuff live. So I've been getting requests on how to mold and cast the mask that I've been doing. So maybe I'll do that in this latest mask. I'm not sure if some of you guys joined later or here earlier. So I'll maybe do a session on how to cast and mold this. Since I just need to prep it. I need to fill up a hole that I got here. But once I prep this, I can just show you guys the process, and you guys can do it. That way you guys can do it yourselves and then have some cool masks that you guys design yourselves. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, that was a fun one to make. It kind of came out of nowhere, so I'm hoping to make maybe every other stream make a new mask. Got some more ideas for some more different designs. There you go. This guy's looking pretty good. This is the old head too. Let's put the new head on. Yeah, that works pretty well. So let's continue with that. So let's see, what's the deal with these? We need to make them feel sharp and nice and... Give them some nice curvature too. Hide this hand real quick. Yeah, that's not too bad. And we can put some joints here so it feels like it's actually going in. So I guess he's gonna need those bigger arms now, huh? Oh, that it did fuse them all together. That's awesome. It's not what I wanted, but not a big deal. Not a big deal. First, let's save, because we haven't saved in a while. Always save, guys. Let's see, we have about a couple minutes left, so turn off the other head. For some reason it's still on. I think overall that's working. We do one of those on one side, the other one maybe has a pincher type of claw. So let's work on one side. Trying to get rid of those little kinks that I see here. Let's see the other one. What kind of claw can I have? I have an idea. Let's see. Let's first delete hidden. Let's duplicate this guy. Flip him. And maybe one of these will be the smaller one. I'm not sure which one, but we'll figure it out. Like this music's pretty epic, huh? So I think this will be the pincher claw. We're just gonna get rid of the shape. Or actually, one thing we can do is make it into one bigger shape. Just fuse all this stuff together. I have to get rid of this pincher part. I'll also change the design on the outside of this, so it feels more stronger from this side. Because now this one feels like a nice shield, but this one needs to feel like beast mode type of style. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. Not a big deal. We just had to replaner some of this stuff so that it feels like it's the same surface and maybe round it off a bit. Right, like give it more volume since oh, sorry guys, just a little tired. So I think this one's going to be the smaller one. Maybe you'll see some of the fingers kind of sticking out from the bottom. And this would be more of the larger one. Yeah, it kind of works. This one could be maybe even smaller than that. That way we have some asymmetry. That's kind of where we're ended up today, guys. What do you guys think? Digging it? Let's do another Keyshot render real quick. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate the feedback. You know, whether good or bad. Sometimes feedback is feedback, right? Yeah, that works. That breaks up the symmetry. We'll add some more stuff to it. You know, add a little more of these details and the rest of the stuff, just like the rest of the model. But it's kind of like where we ended up at. Awesome, guys. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Yes, he can live here. He can just hang out here. He can live in the... Let's see what this environment... Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm open to kind of whatever you guys want. So if you guys have suggestions too, feel free to let me know, because I'm trying to make this exciting and interesting for everybody. So I want to make sure it's not you know, the same old same old. It's not all about mask. I only started doing the mask because it was just fun. I could 3D print them, but not a big deal. And a lot of people tend to like those too, so that was cool. But I don't want to make it all about mask, because that's not what life is all about, right? Yeah, I think this is working, so I think we'll continue on this maybe next stream, or on my own stream, and then maybe start something new. But thank you guys, really appreciate it. Oh, on our planet, yeah, that would be awesome, right? These guys just came out of the sea. That'll be scary. Oh, thank you, MS Wildfire. Thanks, guys. Yeah, imagine trying to hug this guy. How spiky you're gonna get. How sting. But yeah, this is where we landed, guys. So we'll continue this next time. Feel free to follow me. Maybe I'll do a bust print of this guy for now, or just continue and just get them all done to print them full body and pose them up for next time too. If you guys are interested on that, I can continue on that. But yeah, thank you for joining. We will see you guys on the next stream. Awesome, guys. Take care. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining.